Hi everyone, my name's Cameron and I'm a Math 45 tutor here at Fresno City. So today we're going to look at a problem from Chapter 2 that deals with weighted voting systems and figuring out how to manipulate the quota to get what we want. So in the screen grab here we can see we're working on number 9 from the textbook. It's a little different. I've changed the numbers just a bit, but we're going to do the same process as what problem 9 is asking us. So if we look at the problem, we're given weights of 4 players, and so we're told to write those out as 4x, 2x, x, and x, okay? And we're also given a quota in the book. It's slightly different, but I've chosen to use the quota of 65. So we have 3 parts. Today we're going to look at parts A and B, and part A asks us to find the quota, to find the weight of the players, with the quota being defined as a simple majority of the votes. So before we start this problem, we need to know 2 things about weighted voting systems. First of all, we need to remember that if we add every player's total weights, the total weights equals the total number of votes. Okay, that will come into play a little later on. We also need to understand what a simple majority is. So if you recall, a simple majority is simply 1 more than half. So if our total votes equals 100, all we have to do to find a simple majority is divide the total votes by 2, which gives us 50, and we add 1. Okay, so a simple majority of 100 would end up being 51. And we need that because if we had exactly half the votes be our quota, then either side could win. Yes could win, no could win. So that's why we do a simple majority. Okay, so now if we start part A, we're told to find each player's actual weight given this number, and we're told that it's a simple majority. Okay, so using what we know about simple majorities, we're going to take this number and we're going to work backwards from it. Okay, so we have the number 65, and we know that that is a simple majority. So we know that since we have 65 here, we added 1 to a number. So first of all, we're going to subtract 1, and that's going to take us to 64. So now we know that this is exactly half of our total number of votes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to do 64 times 2, which is going to give us 128. Okay, so now we know that 128 is the total number of votes, and that's what all these players added up to should equal. Okay, so now we're going to create a algebra problem. So we're going to have our total number of votes, which is 128, and that's going to equal the weight of player 1 plus the weight of player 2 plus player 3 plus player 4. 4x plus 2x plus x plus x. So now we're just going to treat this as a simple algebra problem. We're going to combine like terms, and we're going to go ahead and solve for x. So we get 128 equals 8x. We divide the 8 on both sides, and we get a number of x equals 16. Okay, so now we know that x is 16, so we can take this number and plug it back into our weights up here. So we know that player 4 here has a weight of 16, as does player 3, and then player 2 would have a weight of 32, and player 1 would have a weight of 64. So that would be our answer for part A. Now part B takes the same principle, but they throw us for a loop and they say that the quota is defined as more than 2/3 of the vote. Okay, so we're going to treat this the same way. We know it's not 2/3 exactly, it's more than 2/3. So that means that we added 1 to whatever 2/3 is. Okay, so again, we have the same quota, and we're just going to work backwards. So we're going to take our 65, and we're going to subtract 1. Okay, and again, we know that's already 64. So now our question is, 64 is 2/3 of what number? So if you remember back to your previous math classes, the way we want to solve that is we want to take 64 and we want to actually divide it by 2/3. Okay, so when we do that, we end up with 96. Okay, so we do 64 divided by 2/3, and that equals 96. Okay, so 96 is the new total of our votes. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did for part A. We're just going to take 96 and set it equal to all the players' votes. So we have 96 equals 4x plus 2x plus x plus x. Okay, so again, 96 equals 8x, and we're just going to solve for x again. Divide that 8 out, and so we get x equals 12. Now we just take our 12 and we plug it back into our weighted voting system. So we have x is 12, 12, this guy is 24, and player 1 here is going to be 48. Okay, and so that is how we approach this problem. Part C is going to be very similar, but instead of 2/3, our fraction is going to be 3/4. Okay, thanks for watching.